DevOps friends, how is everyone? Hey Balthazar, Techie Space. Happy Thursday. It's almost the end of the week. It's actually the end of the work week for me. Every last Friday of a month is the FFF Friday in my company, the Family, Friends and Fun Friday, where we get the day off. And this is the last work day, which also means that I'll still have a few things to get done, mainly regarding the infra code of my company's managed hosting platform. So that's what I'm going to work on today. And if you have anything that you'd like to share or anything that you'd like to ask, feel free to do so. That's what chat is for. This is supposed to be an interactive show. Don't make this an monologue of many hours for me. I've changed a few things in my stream setup here, so if I seem confused, that's just because I am. And last night we had a nice stream as well, and it was in a different category of all things. It was the first time that I actually did an official game stream using or playing Euro Truck Simulator 2, which was a lot of fun. Lots of regulars popping by and saying hello, and we had a nice little chat. And that was so fun that I exactly was our eastbound and down. That was so much fun that I think I'll probably do another ETS stream following the office hour stream tomorrow, which is going to be at 2 p.m. Irish time, 1 p.m. UTC. Today I'm starting a little bit late because I felt a little bit tired after lunch, so it was the lunch downtime. I took a short nap of 25 minutes and took my time fiddling with Zotero, which I've started to use to manage all my PDF files with annotations and stuff. I connected it via WebDAV to my Nextcloud storage. That way I can store everything at a central place and access it from everywhere, which is also a lot of fun. I did not know that I could do that. I actually rented some storage space at Zotero. They offer a cloud storage solution, but I ran out of storage space there. And so my Zotero apps stopped syncing, and now that I discovered that Zotero can also sync via WebDAV, I switched that over, and it works nicely. And now I have all my historic Byte magazines, which I'm reading at the moment. At the moment, I'm in 1989, I think May 1989. So I can access them wherever I am, which is nice. But that's not what we're going to do today. Today we're going to do some infrastructure coding. I've already done a little bit, and so let's take a look. Here I am in my Chef Cookbooks repository, where my team manages all our infrastructure code, all our servers. About 300 to 400 servers are managed using Chef, and so I'm using Chef to automate all that stuff. Balthazar asks, do you feel like Zotero is different enough from Obsidian to maintain separate infra? Yes, I think it is. Zotero is mainly made as a helper application for academic work, for easy citations. But that also makes it very suitable to manage all kinds of documents, including highlights you make. And that's what I'm used to. I started using highlights in the Kindle app, where I started highlighting stuff, but the Kindle app isn't that great with non-fiction books, especially if they contain code and stuff. So I switched to actually downloading PDFs or EPUB files for these books that I bought, say, from Pragmatic Programmers or something like that. And for a time, I used the Readwise reader, where you can actually upload PDFs and highlight them, which is especially nice because it, of course, connects to the Readwise highlights feature that Readwise started out with, where it resurfaces all the highlights that you make in a document, mainly in web articles, but it can do the same with PDFs as well. The downside of that is that it's in the cloud, and then you don't have direct access to the PDF anymore and things like that. I did not quite like that, and that brought me to Zotero, and to come full circle here, there is actually a Zotero plugin for Obsidian, where you can actually get your highlights that you make in your PDF files in Zotero pulled into Obsidian, so you can search and manage them. That way, I have still everything in one place. I actually sync all the Readwise highlights to Obsidian. Those highlights now come mainly from Kindle. I can sync everything I highlight in Omnivore, which I use to as my Read It Later app for web articles. That syncs into both Readwise and directly into Obsidian, so it's actually synced redundantly. I might actually switch one of these avenues off, probably the direct Omnivore sync. If everything comes in via Readwise anyway, I probably won't need the direct Omnivore sync. And I'll also set up the Zotero plugin, so I can actually, for example, pull in the highlights that I actually make in the Byte magazine PDFs while I'm reading them. There are actually articles which are still relevant, even if they're 30 years old, and it's nice to have those highlights in Obsidian as well. So Obsidian is still the hub for all my knowledge, but fortunately there can be many sources for these things, and Obsidian is Zotero is actually a really good open source software, and I enjoy using it a lot. Hope that helped. Now let's go back to my code here. So what I've done in this particular cookbook, as you can see, it's about Netdata, is when we built this cookbook, we installed Netdata from their package cloud repository, but that got deprecated in 2022, I think, and by now it doesn't provide current software versions anymore, so I switched the package source to their official Ubuntu repository. Our whole infrastructure uses Ubuntu LTS versions, and the only downside is that I had to make a breaking change because the new repository doesn't contain any packages for Ubuntu 16, which is outdated anymore, but it's a breaking change. We still have a few machines using Ubuntu 16 for historical reasons, as always, and so this is actually a breaking change. Let me pull up RubyMine from a different screen, from which I don't know what it shows, so I'll hide things for a second here. Here we go. Here we are in RubyMine, which I can, if I make it full screen, make a little bit smaller sidebar. Okay, so yeah, so the new version of this cookbook has now jumped from 4 dot something to 5.0. Let me know if the font is too small. I can increase the font size if you like. And that's that. I should actually add a version number for this cookbook as well, just to avoid breaking changes to get pulled in. So let me quickly go into the burksfile.log and see. Interesting. Why doesn't it? Oh, I'm in the wrong cookbook. Careful. That's the downside of a monorepo. Everything's in there. And all these files are named the same. So I need this burksfile.log, which has a lot more information. So that's Chef Freistyle 7. Which means... wait, which one exactly? What's the mine number? Chef Freistyle 7.1. So we'll pull in 7.1. And the changelog already has an entry for version 5 here. And I guess we'll move the breaking change ahead of the standard change here, so it's easy to spot. New dependency on Chef Freistyle to fix the SRE root cert issue with Ubuntu 20, for example. The Chef version that we are running on Ubuntu 20 didn't have the, or doesn't have the latest root SSL certificates. So our Chef Freistyle cookbook fixes that. So we don't get issues with newer SSL certificates that use, for example, the latest Let's Encrypt root certificates. Okay, that's that. I think we can commit this. So that's Control K. Actually, oh yes, we haven't committed anything yet, right? Oh yeah, we have. I think I'm not using this, but this. Let me take a look. So far we have the group tests, we have removed the dependency. So the changes that I haven't committed yet. I guess it's the Chef Freistyle dependency, right? Let's get a diff for the burksfile.log. Yeah. Of course, netdata is new. And Chef Freistyle is new, which pulls in then Chef Client and things like that. Yeah, okay. And I guess that's also the change in recipes default RB, right? So we can group these. Yeah, we'll simply pull in the client fixes recipe here to update the root asserts. What's with metadata RB? That's the major version bump. because... Oh, Frackberg, hello! Might have signed up for 315 kilometers ride next year. Wowzers. So how does this work? Is that a week of cycling? You keep impressing me, pal.
Flush the bombers, get the subs in launch mode. We are at DEFCON 1. DEFCON 1?
DEFCON 1. Rob, thank you for the raid. I hope you had a great stream. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Monospace Mentor. I'm Jochen, the Monospace Mentor. And I'm doing mostly DevOps and SRE work. Thanks, everyone. Sir Puffin, hello. ZD, thank you. Yeah, Rob, have fun getting some work done. I'm also trying to get some work done, but we'll see how I'll succeed here. Quiet Mercenary, welcome to the stack. So yeah, what I'm doing here is mostly DevOps work. My company runs a managed hosting platform for Drupal and WordPress, and everything is completely automated. Sandeep, thanks for the follow, I really appreciate it. Yeah, everything is automated. I'm actually running the whole company, the whole SRE with my business partner. We do everything, and we have been doing so for more than 10 years, 14 years by now. That's of course only possible if everything is highly automated and well automated as well. Otherwise you'd have a lot of work 24/7. Yeah, thanks to things like I'm working here on like Chef, for example, which is the automation software that we use to manage hundreds of Linux servers. I can actually get some sleep at night. And at the moment, I'm in the process of committing changes to our NetData cookbook. NetData is a great monitoring software if you want to get very detailed and real-time metrics for your services. NetData is a great open source solution, and I made some changes to this cookbook, so NetData gets installed from the official repository instead of the deprecated one, which we had been using up until now. But now that we can't get any up-to-date packages from there anymore, we need to switch. And I'm in the process of grouping my commits in a way that a review by my business partner isn't too hard. CD says homegrown automation, yes. When I started the company back in 2010, I knew if this thing takes off, it needs to be automated, otherwise I won't be able to manage everything. And back then, the options were basically Puppet or Chef or the other automation software that I never can remember. I still remember that Mark Burgess is the author, but I can't remember. What was it called? Config and netconfig. Oh dear. I'm so sorry, Mark. It's really hard for me. Somehow this always gets stored in a bad sector of my brain, and I can't remember. Anyway, on basically a gut feeling, I decided to use Chef, and I'm still happy with the decision 14 years later. So yeah, that's definitely something that I enjoy. Bethesda says a relatively recent addition to NetData that I found interesting is that it also supports both digesting and exporting Prometheus endpoints. Yep, that's great too. That way you can combine two great monitoring solutions and maybe then export everything to Grafana for better visualization even, or maybe to something like InfluxDB for long-term storage, things like that. We do have an experimental setup with InfluxDB, but it's not official yet, therefore it's also not automated yet. It's a manual setup, and we're not actively using it yet. So let me get that commit done. I really want to group changes in a sensible way, and that means I need to reconstruct what I was thinking yesterday and the day before yesterday, which is always hard if you are at my age. Yeah, I can see that, Balthazar. To be honest, most of our monitoring services aren't actually HA. They don't tend to go down often enough to warrant the effort. And if something would break in a serious way, I think, thanks to our automation, it would be easier to simply provision a new server and get things running again. We might lose historical metrics, but yeah, that too tends to be a minor problem. It's not impossible, but the probability that we'd lose metrics right at the time when we have to have access to historical data is pretty slim. It definitely hasn't occurred yet, otherwise we probably would have a more solid decision on that. Okay, now, let me try and wrap my head around these things here. We added that. That is actually going to be part of a previous commit. I did, let's do just this cookbook. I made this commit here, remove dependency. Oh, no. Remove dependency means I removed dependency from a different cookbook, from the actual NetData cookbook, which is very outdated by now and unmaintained. So I pulled in the stuff that we are using, thanks to the magic of open source. I was able to pull in the parts that we were using from that cookbook and then discard the dependency. Then I grouped a few integration tests, mainly for style reasons. Maybe I should reword that commit from cleanup to style to make that clearer. And now we're dealing with the actual installation of NetData, which does require the dependency for the Chef Freistil cookbook. So SSL does work because we use SSL to pull in a repository key in the recipe. And since we can't get any legacy packages for Ubuntu 16 from there anymore, it's a breaking change, which makes us bump the version to the next major version in metadata.rb. And what did we change in kitchen YAML, which is the integration test control configuration? For kitchen YAML, yeah, we dropped Ubuntu 16 from there. And I think I'm going to test Ubuntu 22 with the current Chef version instead of our legacy Chef version. I'll make that change. And I'll have to run tests again because of that. Which is a bit of a bummer because these tests are going to run a long time. The problem with infrastructure work is if you run integration tests, that means spinning up Linux machines, installing everything, running the whole Chef automation to get these provisioned. And nope. Nope, that's not going to work anyway. Okay, so that's not necessary. Yeah, as I said, these tests tend to run a long time because you start with a freshly provisioned Linux virtual machine and then you run your cookbooks, which install packages and write configuration files and all kinds of things before the actual integration test can run. And if you have to run those over and over, this tends to take a long time. I've spent about 8 or 9 hours yesterday doing this kind of work, and much of that time was taken up by running tests and keeping myself occupied while they were running. Okay, so I think we can actually go ahead and commit this. Let's see. We'll commit everything. And that's actually a fix for the Netdata Freestyle cookbook. Install from official repository. No, that's a little too long. Instead of the deprecated package cloud repo, we now install Netdata from their official repository. Since it doesn't provide any Ubuntu 16 packages anymore, this is a breaking change. It's not a very significant breaking change, but previously our cookbook was able to install packages for Ubuntu 16, now it isn't anymore. And I try to keep a very clean line here, what is a breaking change and what isn't. Even if it's an insignificant breaking change, it still is one. So we'll have to bump the version, and that's why I do that. Para, welcome. Thanks for following. Now, that means we can not only push this, but also create a merge request in our GitLab. Repo. What does it mean by you have one uncommitted change, though? That's curious. Oh yes, the rake file, I changed that. But that's outside of this cookbook. That's a different change. That's fine. And since these are multiple data from there. So that's that. I'll assign that to me. Assign Moo as the reviewer, even though I'd probably merge that myself, since they're still on holidays until they are back on Monday. Well, yeah, we might keep the merge request around for this time. All right, that's that. What do I do with the rake file change? The rake file change is simply to fix a problem that I ran into late yesterday. If we take a look at the number of test suites I have here, which I do with the test kitchen list command, you can see we have multiple test suites: default, web, health, child, and parent, and each one runs with Ubuntu 20 and Ubuntu 22. And when I had not yet fixed the SSL problem, all of these test cases broke, leaving the test virtual machines lying around, and in the end my workstation ran out of RAM. And that's why I made this change in the rake file to tell Test Kitchen, which, yes, ZD uses Vagrant behind the scenes, to tell it to tear down every VM, regardless if the test was successful or not. Otherwise, we would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 VMs laying around if all these tests break. Each of these VMs taking 2 or 3 gigabytes of RAM, and that, yeah, almost got my workstation to grind to a complete halt. I was still able to salvage the workstation by closing Firefox, which freed up a gigabyte or so, and that then allowed me to issue the command to tear all these VMs down. And I think it might make sense to commit this. Yeah, I'm going to do that. In a different branch, though. So, let me change to the master branch. We haven't pulled in the, or we haven't merged my latest changes yet, so my master branch is still up to date. I'll create a new branch. Kitchen destroy. Here I can actually commit this, fix. Let's call it testing. Always tear down kitchen instances to prevent VMs to eat up all the RAM for a cookbook with many test suites / platforms. Which all break. Which are all breaking. Breaking for some reason. It's sensible to run kitchen with -d always. Nuke the kitchen. Well, clean up the kitchen after every step, more like. I mean, the whole kitchen metaphor is neat, but boo howdy does it make using a search engine hard. Okay, so let's push that too. And create another merge request. Ah, that's nice. Hello, weird number. They say at my job we use SaltStack and Kitchen for formula testing. You want to talk about Googling salt and kitchen problems? Woo, lad. Yeah, I can relate. Definitely. Oh, man. Not only don't you find what you're looking for, you also are getting hungry in the process, which is not really great. Speaking of getting hungry, I have this chocolate muffin lying around here, which my wife made earlier today. We'll consider this Pavlov's muffin. The muffin that gets put on the table will eventually get eaten. Okay. Oh, it's not Pavlov's muffin, it's Chekhov's muffin. Sorry. Getting my Eastern European scientists confused. Scientists/writers. Now that that's done, I think we can go for a more benign change that I realized yesterday. I was talking about the root certificate fix that we have codified in the Chef Freistil cookbook. And I realized that this fix is getting rolled out unconditionally, which made sense until 2021 when these root certificates were updated, but for distributions from 22 onwards, these fixes shouldn't get rolled out anymore because by then, distributions have all the proper root certificates, and so that needs a little bit of a guard clause there. Hey ZD, asking where are you from? Hello to India. I'm actually from Germany, but since 2013 I've been living in Ireland, which probably explains my strange mix of accents. I live a little bit south of Dublin, on the east coast of Ireland. Basically in County Wicklow, which is also known as the Garden of Ireland. It's a really beautiful place. Now, yeah, why not? It's a low-hanging fruit. And I think that's okay. Reaching for the low-hanging fruit on a Thursday afternoon when it's brilliant weather outside, blue sky. We're having a great summer here in Ireland. The only ones who aren't too happy about it are probably the farmers, and also my wife, who went out to maybe pick some mushrooms in the forest, and she didn't find any. It just hasn't been raining enough in recent weeks. For many weeks, actually. And so I keep distracting myself. Sorry about that. But at least that'll give you license to pop into chat as well. Don't worry about derailing me because I can take care of that myself properly. Thank you. Now, it's the Chef Freistil cookbook, but first of all, we need to cut a new branch here, and there's this nice mechanism in GitLab where if you prefix your branch name with the issue number, they get correlated automatically. So what I'm going to do is call this 990 Chef SSL fix. I'll change into the Chef Freistil directory, and Freistil, by the way, is the name of my company. I started the company in Germany in 2010, turned it into an Irish company later, but we still kept the German branding. Freistil is German for freestyle. It's the same word, just spelled the other way around. Instead of freestyle, it's Freistil. You can also imagine a piece of steel side by side with your chips. So it's fry steel. Get it? Yeah, okay. I'll see myself out. Now. RubyMine. Oh, RubyMine. Close all tabs for cleanup. Beth says, "Sir, those are my fries." Sir, this is a Wendy's. Here we are, Chef Freistil. We need to go into the recipe client fixes. And what we need to do is a guard clause that says if node platform version to F lower than it says let's encrypt root CA's expiry in September 2021, so everything that's lower than 22 needs to be fixed. Is there a command to reformat everything? I'm still getting used to RubyMine. I've been using NeoVim for many years, but I'm curious if RubyMine will eventually make me a little bit more productive even. Find action, reformat. Reformat file. Control-Alt-Shift-L. Okay, that's complex. Reformat code. Control-Alt-L. Control-Alt-L. Is that mnemonic? CD, enjoy your dinner. Yeah, you're a little bit ahead of me. I'm also approaching dinner time slowly, but I think, yeah, I'm definitely still not hungry. I just had lunch earlier. Now, that should do it. And since it won't have any side effects, I think have a great day, ZD. Thanks for stopping by. I hope to see you soon. By the way, tomorrow's live stream at 2 p.m. Irish time, 1 p.m. UTC is going to be my office hour, where all I do is answer questions. So if you have any system administration questions, DevOps questions, SRE questions, IT career questions, or questions why I'm talking a lot, then stop by and ask them. I'll do my best to answer them. Okay, I think we can simply run the tests. Am I going to build an integration test for that? I don't suppose so. Well, actually, I think this test here relates to the certificate check, which means if we include Ubuntu 22 in here, it will break for the Ubuntu 22 check. Let's see. I'm going to try that, actually. Because that means we'll have to work around this. I think this cookbook is lean enough to quickly run a few test suites. So I'm going to run the client Ubuntu 20.04 first. We'll simply run the verification phase, which automatically includes the converge phase, which does all the setup and stuff. But it stops at the verification phase, so... Well, I could have run the whole test phase, actually, with including the teardown, because I don't expect this to break. So I'll have to clean it up anyway. That's a new image version for this VM. Okay. This, of course, prolongs this test run a little bit. Vagrant is now provisioning a new VM based on the new image. Now it's going to install Chef. It'll then transfer the whole cookbook to the VM, and then it'll run the cookbook on the VM. Ooh. Undefined method platform version. I did hallucinate that, did I? Let me see. Isn't it platform version? It's a node attribute. It's part of the hash. I can't use it as a method name. And we should use 2i instead of 2f. Okay. Yeah, makes sense. So it's not node dot, it's actually node platform version. And we'll use 2i, which makes the comparison less ambiguous than using a float. I never like comparisons with floats, especially if it's an equal or greater or lower or equal comparison, because equality with floats is always iffy. For computer reasons, so working with integers is much more solid. Okay, let's try again. Thankfully, I don't have to run the whole setup phase again. It'll pick up where it broke, so it'll reuse the VM that's already running. It'll just upload my changes, and this time it works. And that's already done. This is one of our faster cookbooks, and all the checks are green. The tests are green, including the checksum for the CIA cert.pem. So if I do... Actually, I can tear down this one. Let's save some resources. And now I'm going to run the verify of the Ubuntu 22 version of the test. And if my guard clause works as it's supposed to, the file will not get replaced. Therefore, it won't have the checksum that we're testing for. And to fix this, I need to extract the test to a separate file, and then I can expand my test configuration to run this test only on older distributions, and therefore it won't get executed for newer distributions, and therefore the tests won't break. But this is supposed to break now. Let's see. Yep. All tests green except the checksum one. And I don't want to maintain checksums for all the different distributions, because these files might actually change, especially for the more recent distribution versions. And so I'm just not going to check the shell sum. So let's do what I explained I'm going to do. We'll do a new file here, which I'll name after the recipe that we're testing, which is clientfixes.rb, just like up here. And I'll go into the client spec. I'll steal the test. We'll have to add a frozen string literal true comment up here. Just extracting this won't change anything. It's going to execute the same set of tests regardless of how many files they come in. The order changed, but that's all. And I need to make an exception here. I don't quite remember which one though. So let's Google that. Test kitchen exclude test, something like that. Excluding platforms. No, not really, but maybe something similar. So here we can, oh yes, look at that, here, verifier. If we use this verifier inspect tests and don't group it with a test suite, but with a platform, I can say run this test only for specific platforms. Let's see, excluding platforms. Adding a platform. The verifier software is called InSpec. It's based on RSpec, but it's extended so it can actually test the setup of a whole VM. And that even extends beyond the integration tests that I'm doing here. You can actually run InSpec on your production machines as an auditing tool, where you predefine how your production machines are supposed to look like. And then you can run InSpec on your actual production machines, and InSpec will then validate if they are actually set up like they're supposed to be. So you can say, I want specific user accounts on that machine, or I don't want specific user accounts on that machine. I want to have a specific SSH configuration or things like that. And that way you can actually extend InSpec to a whole auditing tool. We are not using it in that way, but it's definitely something you can do. Sebisnaga3 asks, hey, did you replace i3? Yes, I did. I switched back to GNOME simply because it's a little bit more convenient, and it allows me to make the most of my hardware, actually. That's phrased badly, I guess. I'm not going to throw any shade on i3 or Sway. What I mean is, it's much easier to surface all the features and resources of my workstation using GNOME because of all the applets and widgets and things like that exist for GNOME. So it's just easier. Hey, I'm a recovering Mac user, so you'll understand. Now, what do we have to do? I need to copy somehow. I'm pretty sure we have a verifier instance somewhere already where we needed to make concessions. So let me do a RG verifier. Ooh, that might actually return a lot because, yeah, that turns up in all our kitchen files. I guess I'll have to make a few spot checks here. Like... Those are inspect tests that we integrate with our test suites. But that should work with the platform too, shouldn't it? I'm not sure. Because we'll have to exclude something. How does this work? Let's exclude the CentOS platform from the server suite. Oh, it's the excludes. Okay. So do we have to have a different test suite where we then exclude or include the older platforms then? Huh. I'm not a fan of that because, yeah, adding new test suites means adding more test runs, thus prolonging the whole test run duration. I guess I need to do that, huh? Okay, how would this look like? We have the client suite. So we'll have to run something like an SSL fix suite. I mean, eventually we can drop that whole test and remove the whole recipe because once we don't use Ubuntu 20 anymore, which is only a handful of machines anyway, we can throw this all out. So yeah, that's at least something. Do I have to have this? No, I don't need the Prometheus setup. So we'll do that. But that means I'll have to have a new directory here called SSL_fix, since we have to rename. Yeah, I think I'll rather use an underscore here. And then I'll have to move the client fixes RB from here to there. The client fixes RB gets included automatically, doesn't it? Yeah. And actually, I just realized it's not that much about the distribution version. It's a matter of the chef version. So we need to check if the chef version is... oh dear. This is going to complicate things. Hmm. Okay. Let's give this a try. So what? The guard clause needs to be different. I actually need to access the chef version. I think I can get that. From the chef class? Something like that. Let's see. Oh, that did not work. We're on the wrong directory. Okay. Let's do just the converge. That's enough. We don't need to verify at this point. I think that's the first time I'll have to actually check the chef version. Let's see. It says chef version and then it says 13 and so on. So I can get that, and that therefore I can actually say if chef version lower than, I think we can use the gem class for a comparison. And we'll have to find out which chef version came out after September 2021 and therefore has the fixes already in there. Let's see if this works. Let's do some print debugging. Still love that. I started developing software in 1984. Back then we didn't have any debuggers. Undefined method version for gem module. So it's different. Let me see. Ruby gem version comparison. It's gem version new. Okay. Close, but no cigar. Okay. So, yeah. Gem version new. It still doesn't work. I think it's a... Yeah, we need a double colon here. This time it worked. Syntactically, at least. Let's see if... this file is very long. And this time it gets... Yeah, we will simply run it again, so I don't get this output anymore. This time it updated the file. Because, yeah, the distribution version doesn't matter. It's the chef version that matters. And the chef version is too low. Let's see if 13 changes the behavior, which it should. And then we'll find the actual version that we need to check for. Chef 13 is very old as well, and that's exactly why I need this change, because we definitely need to upgrade from that. It works with 13, which means we can get rid of this. And now let's get chef versions change log or something. Chef infra client release notes. Yeah, that makes sense. By now we are at 18. So let's see. The problem is we don't have any date information. Ah, crap. Maybe I can get it from GitHub. Let's see. Huh. Ah, yeah, here we have the version history. So, September 2021. That means, I guess, 16, 16, 13 would be probably the first one that came with an updated CA certs file. Let's say we'll fix everything. I mean, it doesn't really matter. Everything that's lower than 16.17.4. Which also means we'll have to try with a newer chef version. So what we're going to do is we call this legacy, we'll call this legacy, and 2204 we are going to test with a newer chef version. And I already made changes like that in the apt cookbook, I think. Yep. Here we have the provisioner addition here. Platforms, driver config. So we'll rename that driver config. I think those are aliases, and here we'll say we'll use the old provisioner, here we'll use the old provisioner, and here we are not going to use the old provisioner and not use the old version. Wrong file though. Right? Yep. Can I revert this right from here? Git rollback. Wait, that's am I in the right file after all? That's hard to tell. Interesting. Hey Aquacoder, I'm working on infrastructure as code, which means I'm developing software, but it's software that automates IT infrastructure. My company is running a few hundred Linux servers, and we are maintaining them with a 2-person team, which means we'll have to have software do most of the work. And that's what I'm doing. I'm writing the software that runs our infrastructure, which is called Infrastructure as Code, or IAC, short. Okay, we are in the right file after all. So I think I still have that in my clipboard. So that means we'll run the Ubuntu 20 test suite with Chef 13 as we used to, but Ubuntu 22 is going to use the latest version of Chef if this works like I intended to. Let's find out. We'll destroy the client Ubuntu 22. Client Ubuntu 22.04. I'll have to rename the other ones quickly, because if there are still VMs running under the old names, otherwise I won't be able to reach those and delete those. Let me see. Okay, there's none running anymore, so we can actually run it like this. Yeah, those are the interesting things when you're dealing with infrastructure. You need to test for different software versions, for different distribution versions, and you have to make concessions for all these differences. And yeah, that makes things pretty complex from time to time, especially if you're running a zoo of different variants with different operating system versions, with different automation software versions. The combinatorial explosion, as it's called, is can be significant. Okay, so if I converge client Ubuntu 2004, it'll create a VM and it'll install Chef 13. Nope, it's installing Chef 18. Interesting. And it stops because of licensings. Okay. Not even sure if this works. It doesn't really matter, actually. To tear that down anyway. Oops. We'll change that. If I use require chef on as true, that should install the latest version by default, but since we have defined them differently for these platforms, they should still install the old one. 2404? Yeah, definitely fallen ESO. Because 22 is going to run out next year. No, it's not. 20 is going to run out next year. Thankfully, it looks like our code runs nicely on more recent Ubuntu versions, so adding those won't be a problem. I'm not going to add them right now because they'll basically make the test matrix explode. N test suites times M number of distributions simply prolongs the test runs, and we don't gain anything if we don't even use 2404 yet. But eventually 2404 will pop up in here, of course. At the moment, I'll be honest, we are lagging behind a bit. That's why Ubuntu 16 still turns up here, because we have quite a few legacy machines running on 16 still. That's what's called technical debt. Fallen ISO says, I always wait till the .1 release before it goes prod. Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, we're not too eager to run 2404 yet. Doesn't provide us with any advantage. Okay, let's see if the chef installation does work now. 20 should. Chugging Coffee says technical debt. What's that like? I don't know it. Liar. I can tell from here that you're lying. Hey, Chugging Coffee. How's it going? I should chug a little bit of my tea because it's cold by now. Fuller's now says, I only know technical debt. Also, hi. Hello. Yeah. I do like the term technical debt. And unfortunately, in our case, it's that we are a little bit in the situation of someone who has maxed out their credit card. We made a few unwise decisions that actually got us into serious technical debt that we are still paying off years later. That's the downside of having such a small team. But the term technical debt is, I think, a good one, because just like financial debt, you can actually make a intentional and responsible decisions to to get into debt. For example, if you're buying a house, you are getting a mortgage, which gets you in debt for many years. And that can be a good decision and a good way to get to what you want to have, in that case, a house. Of course, if you are making that decision not knowing how to pay it off, then it's not as great a decision. So I think the same applies to these technical decisions. Now, how do I find out... which Chef version did get installed here? Yeah, it's installed Chef 13 here. In the 2004 VM. Yeah, okay. It installed Chef 13. Which means if we run our test suite, the checksum test should be successful. It is. Now let's run 22, which should install Chef 18. Therefore, not make the fix, and therefore break the test. I'm really happy that this cookbook is so small that running these tests doesn't take too much time. Furusawa says, Shapes 2 is a stupid game I'm not addicted to. Uh-huh. Shapes 2, you say? Should I try it out? Let's see. Yep, that's Chef 18. And it does actually break. For some reason. It does accept the product licensing. Chef depends on Chef in... Oh, we are limiting the Chef client version in our own metadata file. That, of course, is not going to work. It's supposed to be 13 onwards. Let's try this again. Shapes 2, huh? Let me take a look what that's all about. Shapes 2, video game. Why is it searching with Google? And it's 20% off on Steam. Oh dear. What the... Okay. I'm not really sure what's going on there. Okay, you're building patterns and pipelines. I have no idea what's going on, but if you are supposed to build these things, that looks like it can keep you occupied for some time. Early access game. What's the verdict on it? What curators say? Overall, overwhelmingly positive. Nice. That looks like something that I could easily play on my Steam Deck. And that could easily eat many hours of my week. Yeah, I can see how this is not addictive at all. Especially if you are into pattern matching and building what could be called machines, i.e. applies to every developer. Oof, yeah, I can see. Let's close that quite quickly. Now, it did run Ubuntu 22. So, for example, it says you have to sign a contract in the beginning to not build spaghetti factories. You build shapes from different shapes using belts and combiners. Yeah, yeah. As I said, it's kind of like coding. Yeah, it's very easy to create technical debt. I can imagine, but it also seems very enticing to someone like us. Oh dear. Now I'm confused. I was expecting something to break in these tests, but for some reason it doesn't even execute the checksum test, so it doesn't break it because it doesn't run it. Have I already made the necessary changes? I don't remember doing that. What's going on? Huh? I did split up the test suites. And it doesn't run the SSL fix test suite? Wait, what? Let's see, it runs integration client, but not SSL fix. Did I not save the file? Now I've saved the file, but it doesn't put it in. Is there something I'm overlooking here? We haven't made any constraints in terms of test suites. Why doesn't it run the SSL fix test suite? I must be overlooking something substantial here. It only uses test integration client. Huh? What are you woohooing about, Balthazar? Free for meetings! Okay, congratulations. The rest of the day should be great. Excuse me. Let's close this and open it again. Something is very wrong here. We have two suites. Oh, but we have two suites and I'm only running one of them, which is the client Ubuntu one. Of course, I need to run the SSL fix. Ubuntu 22.04.1. And that is going to break. And we can then exclude this test suite or include it. Yeah, but we'll have to exclude it from the newer one. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Wait, something is still wrong. Did it turn the underscore into a dash? Yeah, it did. This is supposed to break. Okay. And that means for 2204, we'll add a verifier configuration where we say exclude SSL fix. So this is the first, actually the last time this is going to run. Might have to comment this out again to get rid of the VM though. Now it's verifying and that's going to break. Nice. if we do SSL fix 2004, just to make sure everything is working as I expect it to. That should go through. And with the current configuration, it still says SSL fix. Maybe my YAML syntax is broken here. Again, test and exclude. Test excluding platforms. It's verifier excludes. We are missing an S. And it's part of the test suite. It's not in the platform. Okay, that's why. Okay. So what we need is, yeah, we can throw that away, and we'll say excludes. We won't test Ubuntu 2204. Like this. Which means we should have one less test suite now. This one's already set up though, and by excluding it I can't tear it down anymore, so I need to make a quick change. But other than that, we are not just checking the SSL fix for Ubuntu 16 and 20 as it's supposed to work. So this unfortunately adds a little bit of overhead in terms of testing, but only until we can get rid of these legacy versions. Now, is there an action to comment stuff? Comment. Comment out? No? Here, comment with line comment. That's control /. I think that's what I want here. So these two, control /. If this even works. Comments in YAML are not standard, I think. But it does work. Our VM has reappeared, so I can actually deprovision it. How does this work? Yeah, the old one here, 2204, is doing the update, and the test is successful. Now, that means we can actually get rid of this one. Yep, we can revert this. So the SSL fix will only run for the older versions. And now let's actually run RAID test.
I know this.
Hey, it's me, Brooks. How you doing? Thank you for the follow. Okay, this is going to break because we have a local version of 7.12 and remote version 7.12 does already exist, and that means I won't be able to submit my changes. We'll have to bump this version, and it's a fix, so we'll do a bump patch. We don't specifically change the behavior in the functionality. We actually fix or constrain the blast radius of a change. So this is now 703, right? We bumped it to 713. And there's also going to be a test if we have a changelog entry for that. So let's write it. Let's do 713 2024 08 29. Almost done with August again. Dear me. Fixed. Update chef root certs only for old chef versions. If I run rake test again, that means both the version check and the changelog check should go through. We have unnecessary spacing. Okay, added an additional space there for some reason. That's in client fixes. No, in the other client fixes here. Okay. And now it's going to run all the test suites. Also updating the image for the other Ubuntu version. So this is going to take a few minutes. Oof. This was a little bit more complex than I expected it to be, because we had to check for the chef version and not for the distribution version. And then I had to split up my test suites for that. Also, the decision to call this file client fixes wasn't too great, because it's only going to I should have isolated this change in a file called SSL root or root cert fix or something like that. Something more specific. I think I can actually test if this recipe does get referenced directly in our infrastructure. And if it doesn't, I can easily rename it. If it's just an internal name, I can easily rename that. So let's go and try that while the test suites are running, which seem to be successful. Well, we'll see it in the end if anything has broken. So let's see. If we do a knife search node, run a list, chef dash fry steel. We'll have to escape the colon. Client. That's the main recipe. That I expect that to run on every of our servers. On each one. Oh, 0 items? That's not good. Yeah, I guess it doesn't even appear in the run lists. It should actually appear in the recipes list. Run list is the most explicit one. Recipes is more of a collection, which recipes actually run on each of these nodes. And we found 332 hosts that are actually running this. The client fixes one will have to have the same result, because the former actually includes the latter. Yep, that was expected. Nope, that's 10 less. Interesting. I wonder how that's possible, though. Oh, there are 10 machines that don't run the most up-to-date cookbook, which might not even come with the client fixes recipe. Okay, interesting. Now, I'm more interested in machines that have this particular recipe directly in their run list, which there is none. So I think I'm safe to say this doesn't get referenced anywhere. And that means we can refactor this a little bit better. To simplify the later refactoring, so we'll call that root certs.rb. And we'll actually call it underscore root certs because it's not supposed to be referenced from outside this cookbook anyway. And we'll rename the test to root certs as well. Of course, in client RB, we'll have to change the reference as well. Root certs. It's a Freistilism, Balthasar. It's basically it's a convention I have invented here to signify that this is a recipe that's basically a private recipe, similar to a private method. It's not supposed to be called from outside the cookbook. The cookbook itself can make use of these recipes simply for isolation or readability reasons. In this case, it's more about isolation. Because once we got rid of all these legacy setups with the old chef client, I can easily throw out the file, I can throw out the include statement that uses the file, and that way we have removed infrastructure code that's not necessary anymore. Hopefully that's going to be soon. But yeah, you know how this works. It'll always take longer than expected. So, now that I've made these changes, I might have to rerun my tests. They finished successfully, which is nice. Test kitchen finished after 5 minutes, so let's run it for another time. We can invest those 5 minutes just to make sure that I didn't break anything by renaming these files. Granted, this is a lot of faffing about just for legacy software and old versions that we still have in use. On the other hand, I'm pretty happy that I'm now introducing all these mechanisms, like, for example, using the latest Chef client for newer distributions, and only running the older distributions with our legacy client, because that now hopefully has ripple effects throughout our code base here, and people can copy and paste this approach from this cookbook to other cookbooks, and maybe we can introduce a convention to say, okay, from Ubuntu 22 onwards, from now on we'll test with the current Chef client, even though we might not be using it already on all these machines out there. At least we are testing our code with it, and so we can be confident that our code is going to still work once we upgrade all these Chef clients, which is usually just a simple apt upgrade away. So yeah, I'm hopeful that in a few weeks' time we'll have Ubuntu 22.04 tested with the current Chef client throughout our relevant cookbooks, and that's definitely something I'm looking forward to. And that makes all this effort here worthwhile, even though it seems like I'm making a lot of fuss about things that don't seem that significant. Creating new test suite and stuff just for a new client version or things like that. Thing is, these tests are really, really important. I've told that a lot of times on my stream here. We started out when we in 2010 using Chef, and I'm not even sure if testing was a thing back then. I don't think Test Kitchen was even invented back then, let alone integrated with Chef. So we didn't have any tests, and rolling out new cookbook versions was always a game of Russian roulette, basically, and we couldn't know if in an hour's time our monitoring would explode with stuff going down for some reason. And only when we introduced these tests years later, I realized how important these are and how much peace of mind they give you when you roll out stuff even ahead of a weekend or something like that, because by now we have a lot of test coverage, and we can be pretty confident that if the tests go through, there won't be nasty surprises in production. And so I'm happy to invest a lot of hours into building a robust test suite, because that saves me from investing hours into incident management, apologizing to our customers, and of course hours of losing sleep taking care of server outages in the middle of the night. Okay, so my file name change didn't break anything apparently. We have a test here for 2004 Legacy, which for some reason got executed last. Oh, that's because, yeah, it's the SSL fixes that only run for 16 and 20, so that worked, and apparently everything else did work as well. And we made the regular client checks for 22 as well, so that's great. Berthasar says, honestly, the test suite is what really makes me consider biting the bullet and investing in Chef. I don't really see a batteries included testing methodology in any other infrastructure as code tool. I'm pretty sure the others have something like that too. Ansible, for example, has its own test harness. What is it called? Ansible Galaxy is the playbook repository. What is the test stuff called? I don't recall, but it does have some. And the aforementioned Salt Stack, for example, I I'm pretty sure they have testing as well. And to be honest, I'm not sure if Chef is still worth investing into. I mean, we have a lot of sunk cost, having used it for 14 years now. Now that Chef isn't owned by Chef Software, formerly Opscode anymore, they sold Chef to Progress, which is a company that I've never heard mentioned before I learned about the acquisition. Yeah, I'm not too optimistic in the future of Chef, actually. They made the same business licensing things Redis and HashiCorp did lately. Yeah, it doesn't look too healthy to me. There is an open source fork, of course, that happens too. It's called Sync, short for Sync is not Chef. So I'm not worried about ourselves using Chef for the time being until we finally will be able to move over to a Kubernetes-based infrastructure. I'm just reluctant to recommend it to someone who intends to get started with it. First Neighbor says, sunk cost fallacy is something I know of as well. We all do, pal. And Bethesda says, Ansible tests, integration tests don't include the ability to deploy a test system without a lot of additional effort. Oh, I see. I've never tried it myself, so... Yeah, so Chef might have some things for itself there. Going for itself. Well, that means this is ready to be pushed. We'll add this. And now let's phrase the commit nicely. I'll say this is a chore for the Chef Freistil cookbook. Limit root cert fix. Replacing the SSL root certs in Chef is only necessary for versions older than Chef 16. This change implements the implements a constraint accordingly. For this reason, we're going, or we'll run tests for Ubuntu 22 plus with the current version of Chef. It's not for this reason, it's in this context. We'll run tests for Ubuntu plus with the current version of Chef. We're now running tests. Something like that. Or inconsequence. Let's call it inconsequence. That makes the most sense. And that's going to be another merge request. We'll call it limit chef root cert fix. This commit shouldn't have been part of this change. Apparently, I didn't rebase this on the master branch. So let's fix this before I submit the merge request, because now I have to rewrite Git history. Something went wrong here. Master pull. And in here we don't have this change. In, what was it, 919? Yeah. Did we cut this branch from the kitchen destroy branch instead from master? I think we have. But that should be easy to fix. Git rebase -i master. And we'll remove that. We'll do a git push force. And now we'll make a merge request. Okay, that looks good. We can have a different workflow label. Now it's testing. Actually, it's release. No, it's review, actually. Of course. Shouldn't this be exclusive? Strange. Create merge request. Okay, we are pretty productive today, submitting one merge request after the other. I think we deserve a break. And I do need one too, because I've run out of my drink. So, actually, why don't we start a game of words on stream here? Let's set it on autopilot for you. If you're not familiar with the game, simply combine these letters into words, type them into chat. If you solve one, you'll get locked out for a few seconds. And at a later stage, there will be fake letters that you can't use or that are just to distract you. Okay, I'll be away for a minute. Don't do anything I wouldn't do.
Livestream. Mach immer noch Livestream.
All right. Nicely done. Level 2. Jirdin, you might have been locked out when you wrote that. Try again. What he said. Well done. We already smashed that level. Love it. Oops. Ah, Balthazar. That's a precision level. Level 6. Ooh, nice. I always wonder what other words are hiding in there. I wish they would reveal the solutions at the end. Would be a great opportunity to learn new vocabulary. We still manage level 6. Focus, people. We're going on to level 7. And there's a fake letter in there. Precious few vowels, though. Well, I guess it's the V. If strong is in there, then yeah, it must be the V. Oof. It's only 33, but that's a pretty difficult one. It's getting harder by level. And let's see if we manage level 8. Will we manage level 8? Yes, we will. I picked it. It's the V again, isn't it? Really, so many additional four-letter words. Well, Level 9. We managed level 11 once, I think. Or we got stuck at level 11. That's the highest we got so far. Oh. It's the end this time. All right. But 64. Oh, we already have 56. All right. Let's push it over. Still, there's even a 5-letter word there. All right. Now it's getting interesting. Level 10. Anyone needs to go to the loop before we start? Let's get this done. It's the J. Okay. Almost there. Balthazar pushed us over the goal once more. Well, level 11. Let's see what we can do. Oh, it must be the V, huh? We need everyone's help for this level because of the lockouts. Someone type tall. Then there's teal. Come on, one more point. All right, folks, we made it. Not better at all. That gets us to level 12. Well done already, but don't let up now. And silly Laird, who you are calling a tool here? Okay. Oh, wow. That's a lot of letters. Well, let's start with the easy ones. Oh, there's only one O. Okay. That's no T. Oh, okay. All right, level 12. That's the one to beat next time. Great game, everyone. Aioli missing. Well, actually, that's my cue. It's dinner time for me. So, beans and aioli sounds great, Balthazar. Okay, so we did start late today, but we also managed to do a few hours. And with a few merge requests submitted, I regard this as a successful live stream. Tomorrow we're going to do an office hour at 2 p.m. Irish time, which is 1 p.m. UTC. If you'd like to ask any questions around IT, software engineering, DevOps, SRE, career questions, stuff like that, then maybe consider dropping by, asking questions. I'll do my best to answer them. And If nothing else gets in the way, we'll do an hour or so of Euro Truck Simulator after that. So simply to go into the weekend. And let me see if there's someone who we can raid. We haven't raided Finite Singularity for quite a while, so we're going to do that. So say hello to Mark for me. And I hope to see you soon. Let's start the raid. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for raiding this channel, everyone. Thanks for all the follows. Have a great rest of your day. I'll push the button to raid Finite Singularity. And until next time, take care.